Hi, my name is Assemblymember James Ramos, and as chairman of the State Military and Veterans Committee, I welcome you here to this press conference. And I want to thank everyone for joining us here today on this warm day in support of our veterans here in the state of California, and specifically to support AB 1623, my bill that would help to honor our military servicemen, women, and families who have made sacrifices for our country. Before I begin discussing the bill, I want to thank Jeff Brighton, who will be speaking a bit later. He was of tremendous help in organizing this news conference, and he represents the bill's sponsors and gives him and helps us to coordinate this effort to reach out to the state of California on behalf of our veterans. And they're a proud sponsor of this bill. Let's give him a round of applause there. I also want to thank the City of Redlands and their Department of Parks and Recreation for their assistance in helping us today. I want to say thank you to the City of Redlands. We have some special guests with us today. With us from the American Legion Post 106, Commander Nathan Hansen. Marine Corps League Detachment 1459, Commandant David Hinkle. And Colonel Gilbert Rodin with Army National Guard. Also with us is 3rd District County Supervisor Don Rao. As a county supervisor, I met then with Town of Yucca Valley City Councilwoman Don Rao, who talked a lot about the military and about her surviving as a beneficial survivor program person. She'll be talking a little bit more about that in a minute. And also as supervisor for the 3rd District, past supervisor, I worked with many of the people here today to assist our military and uniformed service community with honor and assist with veterans and retired personnel. The inscription behind me, "They ask not what their country could do for them," says it all of why we're here today. Now is a time for us to come together as a state of California to help them and their families enjoy the services and retirement they deserve. I was also gratified to become the first California Native American to chair the Veterans Committee in the state of California. I grew up on the San Manuel Indian Reservation, where many of my great uncles served in the world wars that were there. And to ensure that the services that are provided to our military personnel is personal. That's why we fight so hard to ensure that our military personnel understand that not a day goes by that we're thank you for your service. As the chair of the Assembly Military and Veterans Affairs Committee, I will be working on many issues in the state of California, addressing homelessness with our veteran population and ensuring the resources that are there, working with our counties in the state of California. I've moved forward with a budget request of $250 million in one-time funding towards the Veterans Housing and Homelessness Prevention Program. I've also moved forward with a $6 million allocation in one-time funds to the Certified Veteran Service Provider Program to provide California veterans eligible discharge upgrades and legal and administrative casework support. This is important because here in San Bernardino County, we have 175 unsheltered veterans between the ages of 18 to 24. Here in San Bernardino County, we will work together in collaboration to address these issues and to ensure these resources are available. And now I'd like to start to discuss the reason we're here today, and that's for AB 1623. I also want to mention the resolution that I've introduced also with those supporting here today, a resolution that would name the interchanges or the off-ramp of Haven, and the resolution is ACR 139, and it would honor and recognize the sacrifice of Rancho Cucamonga hero, United States Marine Lance Corporal Dylan Ryan Marola, for his service. Lance Corporal Marola was killed in action August 2021 during a terrorist attack in Afghanistan. And that resolution is moving through the state legislature as we speak, and that's ACR 139. His bravery and sacrifice would be acknowledged by the naming of the Haven Avenue overcrossing on Interstate 210 in San Bernardino County with his name. This is just a small price that the state of California can do in recognizing the service of our military people. Now with AB 1623, which will repay in a small measure the debt we owe our veterans and military personnel and their families. It provides a tax exemption for retired members of the uniformed services over the age of 60, and also exempts those who receive survivor benefits under the Department of Defense Survivor Benefits Program. California is one of only 9 states that fully tax the pay of its 146,000 military retirees. I think it's about time that we move a piece of legislation that would exempt that income for our military personnel. After they complete their service, they go on to second jobs or finding other ways of service for our communities. It's only fitting that we allow for retirement planning here in the state of California, that an exemption to the income would be a way to honor all our military personnel and provide them a tool to stay here in the state of California to enjoy their retirement years. By moving forward on pieces of legislation, and now as the new chairman of the Military and Veterans Committee, we will continue to work on these areas. Our supporters of the bill include the American Legion, Department of California, AIMVETS, Department of California, California State Commanders Veterans Council, Vietnam Veterans of America, California State Council, and others. When we talk about the Survivor Benefits Program, when I first met now Supervisor Don Rao, we've talked a lot about these programs in our military here in San Bernardino County. Supervisor Don Rao is here to speak to the importance of the Survivor Benefits Program and how it's important to ensure that those things are also tax exempt, to ensure that the resources are available to the families as a whole that give up a sacrifice also for our military personnel to serve us in the United States and in the state of California. Join me in welcoming up to the podium Supervisor Don Rao.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ramos. It is an honor to be here today in support of your bill. As a surviving spouse, when my late husband was killed in combat in 2004, I didn't know where I would go or what I would do. So through my church family, the support of people like Assemblyman Ramos, my local community, and a lot of veterans, my children and I decided to stay in the state of California. This bill will help survivors, their families, and I am honored to support it today, not only as a surviving spouse, but also as a county supervisor, and to lend the support from the county on behalf of this bill. So thank you so much for what you do for all of our families. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you. You're hearing firsthand why this bill is important for those throughout the state of California. Now, let me introduce Jeff Brighton, who I've known for many years, and he represents the California Council of Chapters of the Military Officers Association of America. The Council is a proud sponsor of AB 1623, and he exemplifies the word of service. Join me in welcoming to the podium, Jeff Brighton.
Thank you, James. First, I'd like to congratulate Assemblymember James Ramos on his appointment as the chair on the Committee of Military and Veterans Affairs. It's a great asset to the state, and it's a great day for veterans throughout the state of California. Assemblymember Ramos has a proven record of being an advocate for California's 2 million veterans, our military retirees, and our surviving spouses. Even before Assemblymember Ramos was elected to the State Assembly, he was already advocating for veterans as a tribal leader at San Manuel on Veterans Day, Memorial Days. We always had ceremonies up there as a county supervisor. So this is not something new that he just started. He's been a strong advocate for veterans for decades. Assemblymember Ramos recognizes the benefits of retaining uniformed service retirees in California and has introduced Assembly Bill 1623, which will provide an exemption for uniformed service retirement pay in an effort to motivate those retirees to stay in California after their military service. California is only one of 3 states that fully tax military retirees today. Between 2000 and 2016, the nation's population of military retirees has increased by 17%. California, which is one of only 5 states that saw a reduction in the number of military retirees, had a decline of 17% in the state's retiree population. Passage of AB 1623 is a valuable tool to help retain those veterans and their skills in California as those retirees transition into their second careers. The San Diego Chamber of Commerce, which supports AB 1623, released a statement that any loss of state revenue as a result of AB 1623 would be offset by an increase of $46 million through increased state sales tax. Those retirees would also contribute to state income taxes from their second careers, which models project would increase state revenues by $70 million in a 10-year period. Thank you again, Assemblymember Ramos, for recognizing the sacrifices of those veterans who have served in the past, those who are serving today, and those who will serve this great country tomorrow. Thank you again.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, thank you so much. And next, I want to welcome up to the podium Edward Amaya, who's the Interim Director of San Bernardino County's Veterans Office, who is here to speak about the services his office provides to our veterans and the collaboration and the work together with the state of California. And as a prior county supervisor, I know that this position is really on the front lines, the first place that veterans look to get information. Join me in welcoming to the podium Edward Amaya.
Assemblymember Ramos, Supervisor Rao, thank you for having me here, the opportunity. First, I wanted to congratulate Assemblymember Ramos on his selection to chair the Assembly Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. Thank you for your future service for veterans and their families. Just what San Bernardino County Veterans Affairs does, our mission is to assist veterans and family members to apply for state and federal benefits. Our County Veterans Affairs offices, they're the initial point of contact. We kind of call them the boots on the ground for veterans in the county. We have veteran service officers, as some member mentioned, that they're the initial point of contact. They're trained up to 3 years, and they see the veterans and help them, their spouses, their families with the benefits. How we differ from other counties, San Bernardino is our customer service. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. There is no appointments. I know during COVID, a lot of offices had to shut down, but we're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Walk-ins are always welcome. At one time when there was some restrictions, we didn't. But we see everybody. If you get there at 3:59 p.m., we still see you, and you will see a veteran service officers. We've also started telephone interviews for those veterans that live in the outlying parts of the county. If you call, we'll put you in a queue, and we'll always call you back. So that's one of the things that we're really good. We're also open on Fridays. And one of the things I'm proud to say that San Bernardino County was #1 in the state in bringing in federal benefits. Last year in fiscal year 2021, we brought in $45 million, which was #1 in the state, San Bernardino County. And it's a great collaboration. As the Assembly member mentioned, that we have not only Veterans Affairs, but we also have with California Department of Veterans Affairs, CalVet. So what we help veterans with, a lot of benefits. I'll just mention some of the ones that are the most. Service-connected disability, when your time in service, any type of injury, hearing loss, anything that happened once a veteran receives service connection, it opens the window for a lot of other benefits. Also, low-income pension for wartime veterans, also dependency and debt compensation for those veterans that passed away in service of their country, and also the California College Fee Waiver Program with California Veterans Affairs. That is a great program that if you qualify, your son, daughter, they can go to college for free in the state of California at any community college, UC or Cal State. So there's many other benefits, but that is just a small sample of what we can help any veteran and their families with. How do you contact us? We are San Bernardino on Hospitality Lane. We have an office also up in Hesperia and Rancho Cucamonga, and we do go to outlying areas, 29 Palms, Yucca Valley, and up to Barstow. So we just want those veterans and their families to come, and so they can earn their benefits that they've earned in their service. So thank you. Thank you, Senator Ramos.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you so much for that. Our next speaker is David R. Weir. He is a retired captain with a uniformed public health service. The uniformed services are covered under AB 1623 and provide assistance during times of emergency, including to tribal communities, such as we are experiencing now with the pandemic. Join me in welcoming up to the podium Mr. Weir.
Pleasure to be here to represent the Orange Empire Military Officers Club, consisting of about 100 members of retired officers from all of our services. We're part of the CalMOA network of 30 such chapters around the state. We provide a number of services, only to our membership, of course. Socializing with other members at our age is quite a benefit for a lot of folks who like to get together. We also support future military leadership through our Rotc Scholarship program. We hand out roughly $15,000 every year to future military leaders in the ROTC program. We also provide a lot of service here in the community. Many members of our organization are active in church and nonprofit organizations in Redlands. And one in particular has been recognized just recently. Our former president, Eric Grunler, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Grunler, was recognized as Man of the Year by the Redlands Chamber of Commerce for all the service that he's provided to various community organizations throughout Redlands throughout many, many years. And so we may be retired, most of us, but we're actively engaged in this community in ways that we hope are constructive. The motto of our national organization is never stop serving, and that's what we aim to do, whether we're on active duty or whether we're retired. I have a question for you. It's kind of a simple question, really, and I know some of you already know the answer, but many of you may not. I want to ask you, how many uniformed services are there in the United States that have commonality in terms of oath of office, in terms of rank, in terms of uniforms, in terms of pay, rank, that kind of thing? How many do you think there are? I'm going to start with the number 5. You already know those: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. 8? Okay, you jumped right to the answer. All right. The other two are the recent one is the Space Force. That was added in 2019 as a spinoff from the Air Force. And then the NOAA Corps, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, which really has a long history going back to World War I, when it was started right in the middle of that war to provide meteorological and other kinds of information to the Allied forces to help them during the war. And since that time, NOAA has evolved to a top-rate scientific organization that is either up in the air with its own mini Air Force, if you will, scientific instrumented, and ships throughout the world, doing various kinds of studies, reports of our atmosphere and the oceans that help not only the military, but help our civilian sector as well in many ways. James referenced the Public Health Service, and I'm glad that he did, because PHS has played a major role over the years in providing services to underserved populations, and particularly so with the Indian Health Service. The Indian Health Service is a separate agency, actually one of the 8 major public health agencies within the federal government. And most of our officers, the majority of our officers are assigned to the Indian Health Service to provide direct services to that population. But they're assigned to other agencies as well that you may be familiar with: Food and Drug Administration, Centers for Disease Control, the National Institutes of Health. They're scattered assignments throughout many of these agencies. And so they work within the rules and regulations and the job requirements that the agency set forth. However, when there's a national emergency, that's when they come together under a emergency deployment plan. And that comes under the Surgeon General. Our current Surgeon General is Vice Admiral Dick Murphy, and he's the top officer in the U.S. Public Health Service. And so when those things happen, when we have hurricanes, when we have earthquakes, when we have terrorist attacks, when we have major health issues like the current COVID epidemic, now that's when many of these officers are working more than full-time, 24/7, in various assignments to address those problems. Over the years, historically, we've been involved in the Ebola crisis over in Africa, so we're international as well as national response teams. We've responded into quite a number of emergencies that I think are far better off for the way they've been handled with regard to health problems and so forth than otherwise would have been the case. So I'm glad you recognize that there are 8 uniformed services and that the Public Health Service and NOAA are part of the group there. And I don't think all the states that do give some benefit to the military retirees in terms of tax benefits included all the uniformed services. They may have included the military, the 6 that I mentioned, but not the 2 others. And I'm very grateful, Councilwoman Ramos, that you and your colleagues have decided to include us as well. So I'm glad to be here today. If any of you are interested in joining our organization, if you're an officer, a retired officer, or have served as an officer, please see me after our talk here today. I'll be glad to share some information with you and be glad to meet you. And with that, I'd just like to thank everybody for being here and the opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you so much to each and every one of our speakers here today. And it shows the importance of the need to honor our military personnel and also the surviving members of those that need those resources coming in so drastically at times of need, that there would be a tax exemption for them, a tax exemption for our military personnel at the time of retirement, but also a tax exemption for the surviving members of a family, spouses and children that continue to educate themselves going through school. Should be something at the top of the mind here in the state of California that would honor our veterans. We continue to work together. This press conference is assembled here today to gain the traction and momentum of more support moving forward in the state legislature. So if you haven't already called in or wrote a letter to support AB 1623, I would encourage you now to write in that support to honor our military personnel and their surviving benefits program to ensure that those go in the state of California as tax exemption. It's one way that we could honor our military personnel and their families. So today we came together. We heard from the different speakers here today in Redlands, making sure that our voice is being heard at the state capitol, that we're going to be honoring our personnel, our military personnel here in the state of California, to ensure that the awareness and the advocacy and that what our military veterans and their families have gone through, that they understand that the state of California recognizes it and honors it. I want to thank you for attending this press conference here today. Yeah, is there any questions?
Does this bill have any unintended impact on the ongoing controversy between 100% rated veterans and their retirement income of which they've experienced offsets?
No, this is
in a different lane?
Yeah, this is totally a different lane that would accompany. Yeah,
Ongoing controversy.
it wouldn't. And that also came up in a bill that I'm also carrying forward, AB 1606, that would look at the disabled veterans and in higher education when they're moving forward to secure resources for them. So looking at the 100%, the 70% and those issues, this would not in any way conflict any of that out.
Where is
AB 1606 was just heard in the Higher Ed Committee and passed out of Higher Ed. So both these bills, 1606 moved out of Higher Ed, moves to appropriations. This bill, AB 1623, was heard in Tax and Rev, and it moved forward out of Tax and Rev, and it'll be going to appropriations. Any other questions? Any questions for Jeff Brighton? Yeah. Any questions for any one of the speakers? Well, I want to thank you all for attending, and let's get those letters of support in. Tell our families and friends, write in and support these two bills, because we need to make sure we honor our veterans here in the state of California. Thank you for attending. Thank you. Hey. Thank you. Thank you so much.